Hi everyone, Jojin here, and today we'll be taking a look at the newly released Womier K87 keyboard. So this Hotswap version retails for around $80 at Banggood, but they recently had a sale that marked it down to $60. For the unboxing, you get some instructions, the keyboard itself, a brush, a switch puller, and a keycap puller. You also get a white USB Type-C cable. Taking a closer look at the keyboard, this is the 10 keyless version of the earlier released Womier K86. As compared to a full-sized keyboard, you do not have the numpad, which should be okay for most. This is where the Womier K87 is better than the K66. The layout on the K87 is very standard. It is very easy to buy keycap sets for this. Any 104 keycap set should fit this board. The K66 had a very weird layout which made it difficult to replace the keycaps. The K87 is bigger but way easier to customize down the road. This board has an almost flat profile and a floating switch design. There are 4 rubber feet which raises the board very slightly. I would have preferred the steeper incline, but this would be manageable if you use a wrist rest. Now let's go to the RGB, which is probably what got you interested with this keyboard. The base is made up of 3 pieces of acrylic held together by screws that allow for light to pass through. There are 2 parts here: the keys that are individually backlit and an LED strip surrounding the side of the keyboard. First, on the keys. The lighting here is done very well. The light diffuses across the board and you can tell where the individual LED lights are. If you pull out a switch, you'll see the socket and the LED, and what's different here is this small cavity here. I think this was done to let more light pass through the board. If I isolate a single switch, you see that light from this row even makes it to the function row, and this results to a really diffused effect on the board. Because of this implementation, even the area above the arrow keys where there are no LEDs gets lit up well by the surrounding keys. It's a really nice touch. As for the side LED, I don't like it as much as it is not as diffused. You can clearly see where each LED light is located, though it gets quite bright. You can control the side LEDs with function plus left control. Key lighting is function plus either of these 6 buttons. Each button cycles up to 3 effects, so you have a total of 18 on board. You change the brightness by function plus up or down. Function plus right arrow cycles through the available colors, while function plus left arrow changes the direction of the LED effect. Overall, really good RGB. I'll be also putting in some pudding keycaps later in the video if you want to see max RGB. For the typing experience, this one is hot swappable and it can vary greatly depending on what switch you are using. This has 5 pins, so you have better compatibility. The switches do wobble a bit within the socket, so take note of that. I got mine with Gateron yellows, which I recommend, and this is how it sounds. So the typing experience out of the box is decent. The stabs need a bit of lubing and you definitely hear the metallic rattle. The keycaps are bad, very thin, and they have those gaps in the legends, which is very common for cheap keycaps. These are ABS double shot and will get shiny over time, so I recommend that you replace these. I also tried another set of switches and pudding keycaps just to give you a better idea as to how these would sound if you change it up. These are lubed milky Gateron blacks, though the bottom does not allow too much light to pass through. So left side, as you can see here, not much light passes through the Gateron black, so if you will be buying new switches, make sure they are clear so you would have better RGB. Right side are the stock yellow switches with pudding keycaps. As for the keyboard features, it connects via USB Type-C on the right side. I would have preferred for it to be on the left side, but that's just me. No Bluetooth connectivity, which is okay at this price point. The build quality is okay. There is a bit of flex on the middle of the keyboard, but it's hard to judge long-term durability of products on reviews like this, where very little time is spent with the keyboard. So to sum it up, I do think this is the perfect keyboard for RGB lovers who are on a budget. Even for people who may not like RGB, I do still think that this is a good choice if you are looking for customizable keyboards and prefer a TKL layout. Most Hotswap boards at this price range are usually 60% keyboards. If you can get this at the $60 price point, that is definitely a steal. The switches alone when bought separately can cost you upwards of $25. As for the competition, I have tried to look for other pre-built keyboards with RGB like this in the market and I have not found any. If you have the budget, you can probably consider some DIY kits like acrylic variants for the 5° or the tofu acrylic cases from KBD Fans or the Ninja 71, which I have, but the total cost of those boards can easily go up to at least double the price of the K87. Being hot swappable, this opens itself up to a lot of customization. Though I would say that customizing this versus a regular 60% keyboard would be more expensive, as you would need to buy at least 27 more switches per set. If you are choosing between the K87 and the K66, I would recommend the K87 simply for having a better layout. Overall, you really get your money's worth with this keyboard and I do recommend it for those who like RGB. I will have a non-affiliated link to Banggood's website below so you can check it out. Try to research for some discount codes if you can. I will not be getting any commission for any purchases you make through that link since commissions present a conflict of interest. This way, I can recommend or criticize freely the products that I buy. And yes, I bought this keyboard with my own money. This was not sponsored or anything, and if you want to help out the channel, please do consider subscribing if you like this video. That helps me a lot and pushes me to continue convincing my wife to let me buy stuff. That's it for this one. Hopefully you enjoyed it. See you on the next one. Bye.